Hey guys, I'm Leona and I'm handicapped and hot. Welcome to the channel. Today's hot topic is, do kids really need their dads? So, we're going to talk about, well, actually, I'm going to react to a video, like a clip from an Andrew Tate interview. So, let's go over there. I'm going to share my screen and you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay. Think we should be out here.
But a father doesn't have to be around. This is a big mistake. This is another big mistake, especially among conservatives in the trap. To sit around and to make a child is a fallacy. In fact, I'd say it's detrimental to the child. I see all these dudes out here, they have a kid and they basically become mother number two. Why? The mother keeps the child alive. As a father, it's your job impactful. You need to guide. You need to be superhuman. Everyone should look at their father like a superhero. That's what you should do as. It's hard to be a superhero if you're home with your wife changing diapers. That's not what a man should do. A man should rock up.
A superhero, that's a bit much. I think, dads can definitely be heroes, but superhero is a bit much. Let's see what else Mr. Tate has to say.
Teach lessons, be impactful, and it's more about quality as opposed to quantity of time. I saw my dad once a month. He was out on the streets. He's pimping, hustling. My father's a chess grandmaster.
That's ridiculous. Once a month? Like, I could see if he was away at the, I don't know, the military, like working far away and stuff like that. But in the streets, pimping and hustling, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Traveling the world playing chess. He had all his girls. He's doing whatever he's doing. When he came home, it was an impactful time, whether it was a positive impact or a big argument or whatever. Never was I ever around my father. It was a low energy environment. That's not who he was as an individual. And I remember every single second spent with him. There's a whole bunch of dudes out here and chicks. Their father's home all the time, fine. But if you're home all the time, you're going to lose to a degree your mystery. It doesn't matter how cool you are as an individual. If you're home all the time, always, you're not going to have that magical power as opposed to, whoa, dad's home. I'm telling you, the biggest mistake fathers make is that they let the woman convince them.
Yeah, I remember when my boys were younger and it was always like, well, I mean, they don't really call him daddy, but they'd be like, oh, daddy's home. Like it was such a big deal because it was always boring when it was just me and them. Like, I tried to do things with them. I was always like, making projects and baking and taking them to parties and here, there, and everywhere. But when daddy came home, it was like a big deal. It was always exciting. Like, what was he bringing home? Were we leaving? Were we going out? Blah, 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 blah. So I get that, what he's talking about. That is, I think that's important.
So that to be a dad all the time, that is a complete lie. Fathers never did this. We were all homes or away working. This is the always humanity, right? The big argument, whatever. Never was like it was a low energy environment. That's not who he was as an individual. And I remember every single second spent with him. There's a whole bunch of out here and chicks. Their father's home all the time, fine. But if you're home all the time, you're going to lose to a degree your mystery. It doesn't matter how cool you are. You're home all the time, always. You're going to have that magical power as opposed to, whoa, dad's home. The biggest mistake fathers make is that they let the woman convince them that to be a good dad, they need to be there all the time. That is a complete lie. Fathers never did this. We were always at war or down in the coal mines or away working. This is the way for humanity. The men were away doing important things.
I don't know what's going on with the internet, but it should be wired. So I don't know what's happening. This is pretty annoying. Let me see. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Thought this was good. Yeah, it's connected to the wire. Maybe it's the weather. I don't know, but this is unacceptable. It's like better on Wi-Fi than on the wire. All right, let's try it again. See what happens. If not, we're going back to the Wi-Fi.
The man changed a punk.
Why does that mystery matter?
Of course it matters, because life is mystery. Life is a whole.
That doesn't mean anything. That's just a lot of exciting words.
Life is mystery. I'll tell you what matters. Because for a female to attractionness to a man, there has to be.
Oh my gosh, it's still doing it. This doesn't make any sense. We're connected to the Ethernet, like the wire. All right, let's try this one. Maybe this will work a little bit better. Hold on, guys. Sorry. This is really weird. But it is like raining outside. I don't know. I feel like we live in the country and that's messes everything up. Let me see. All right, we're connecting to the Wi-Fi now. It's making all kinds of noises, so I think it's working. Okay. All right. Let's try this one.
So we're man.
No.
A woman. Give you an example. Let's imagine date. And you asked me my job, and I said, "Oh, I do this."
What would you ask?
Oh my goodness. I'm really sorry, guys. I don't know what's happening. This is just not this is not really usually how it works. Usually works pretty well. I don't know why it's not connecting. Yeah, it's totally plugged in. Everything is connected and it's being weird. All right.
Not my job.
What would you say?
Let's say I run casinos. I own casinos in Romania, right? Let's say. So I picked you up. We're in the Lambo run casinos. Lee, say what's your job, and I say, I look at. But the point I'm making is the story you're going to construct in your head is actually going to be more interesting to you than the truth. You're going to say, well, my man just 25 grand on dinner, pulled a $4,000 car, looks after his people. What does that even mean? And it's going to be interesting to you. When you watch a horror movie, what scares you is not the ghost that's on the screen. It's the thing you don't see. It's just what ways you.
All right, yeah, I can see that. I do think that a degree of mystery is good, but not when it comes to your husband. That's a bit much. I don't know. But then, like, I understand what he's saying. Like, if you're like a really powerful man, blah, 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 it's gonna be different. But like, most of the men are not really powerful. So, like, just stay home. Like, yeah, you gotta go to work and stuff like that, but like, calm down. He's being a little extra. And, like, no, we don't need that much mystery now that we're married and have kids. That's a bit much. And kids, like, you can tell them whatever and they'll believe you about the mystery. So.
That's how human mind works. A degree of mystery is extremely intriguing to the human mind. So it's extremely intriguing to the female for her man. It's the first thing. It's also extremely intriguing to the child for their father. Dad's home. Oh no, the whole dynamic of the house has changed. Everything's shifted. Dad is home. He's been away. Now he's home. There's positive or negative impact on you, a genuine effect on your psyche. I see so many fathers walk in the house and the kids are just playing a video game. Dad walks in. They don't give a shit. Is that parenting? Are you a good dad now because you're home every day? That's why all these dudes are punks.
No, he's right. Like, even when, I mean, the boys are getting older now, so they don't care as much. It's not that big of a deal. But when my husband comes home, it's always like either they text me or they come and they ask, oh, is he home? Is he home? Is he going on live? Is he this? Is he that? Like, is he in the gym? Like, whatever he's doing, because we have a gym in the basement. So they're always like, it's always like a thing, even now, like if he's home or not. And then, there's just like a level of respect that comes with that too. Like, if my husband has something to do or whatever, then they know not to disturb him. So I think it does need to be like a big deal. But people just, they gotta remember, like, you gotta I don't know. You gotta make a big deal, but at the same time, like, I don't know, he gets a little extra for me. So let's see what else he has to say. Oh, wait, look. Hey, Lady Bex. How are you? And when dad is home, it changes everything. Okay.
Question comes to being a father or parenting because I was raised in a very specific way, and I'm one of the greatest men on the face of the planet. So I know it works. I'm the product of it, right? So if I had a son, it would be my duty to out here, travel in the world, make a fantastic individual
Oh my gosh.
every day.
Why is this happening?
And he'd be like, "That's the boss." Like, yes, Dad is the boss.
Hold on. We gotta rewind that because my Wi-Fi.
Looks after his people. What is that? And it's going to be more interesting to you when you watch a horror movie. What scares you is not the ghost that's on the screen; it's the thing you just walk away. Thing comes out. The human mind works. The degree of mystery is extremely intriguing to the human mind. So it's extremely intriguing to the female for her man. It's the first thing. And it's also extremely intriguing to the child for their father. Dad's home. Oh no, the whole dynamic of the house has changed. Everything's shifted. Dad is home. He's home. Whether it's positive or negative, that has an impact on you, has a genuine effect on your psyche. I see so many fathers walk in the house and the kids are just playing a video game. Dad walks in. They don't give a shit. Is that parenting? Are you a good dad now because you're home every day? These dudes are punks. No one can question what I'm saying, father or parenting, because I was a very specific way, and I'm one of the greatest men on the face of the planet. So I know it works. I'm the product of it, right? So if I had, it would be my duty to be out here, traveling the world, making money, having impact, being a fantastic individual. That is very focused as opposed to there with my boy every home every 2 weeks with a story. Boom. And he'll be like, "Dad's the boss." Like, yes, Dad is the boss.
Is there a minimum or like a maximum? So for example, you said just come every 2
Yeah, I feel like that's a thing that you need to instill in your kids though, to be like respectful, to like what's the word? Like greet their father or whoever comes in the house, but especially their dad. Like that's just like rude. It's like disrespectful. But yeah, dad should be the boss because like if the mom's the boss, then that's an issue. Both of the parents should be the boss, but the dad should be the biggest boss.
home every month? Time amount where you could be away too long?
No,
Really?
not really. I mean, it's hard to quantify in a very, very.
I think there's definitely amount of time that you can be away that's too long. And if you're gone for a certain amount of time, you need to, or there needs to be at least some sort of replacement to help, with that, to help fill that void. Because kids do need their dads, but usually, like, if let's just say the dad's in the military, so he's gone for like a couple of years, there's usually like an uncle or, like a grandfather or somebody who steps in to like fill in that role. They need it.
It's hard to quantify, but the point is, if you make a large enough impact, you could see if I had a son, I could see him once a year. But my son should want to emulate me. He should want to be me. He is me. So I have to live a lifestyle which is worth emulating. This is the difference between kings and peasants. And this is the problem with the world today. 99% of the men, including 99% of the men who are going to watch this interview, all the crypto dorks, all these dudes, all these losers, they're peasants. They have a peasant mindset. When a king had a son, he wasn't staying at home changing diapers. He was conquering new lands and going to battle for the name, for the bloodline, to set an example for his son to graze into, right? Dad's out here. He's conquered this. He's built this castle. He's out there.
He's definitely right now, but like the fact of the matter is there's not that many kings around here. There's not even that many like really powerful men. So, that doesn't apply to everybody. Everybody's not out there conquering lands. What if you're a farmer? Are you supposed to leave your farm and your family because you're a man? Like, he needs to calm down, like with this stuff sometimes. But like, as far as like really powerful men, that does make sense historically, especially. I don't think it's the best, but that's just what they do. That's what they feel like doing. So they did what they felt like doing.
Well, I gotta go do something. That's how a king is done, by example. A peasant raises his son the same way a wealthy raises his son. The fuck is this not parenting? That's not being a dad. It's not being a dad. This is all new age garbage, and it's the femme-centric mindset, which is controlling men to the point where they can't be honest amongst themselves. And I'll tell you another thing, and this is a study that's been done. The higher your testosterone level, the lower your natural interest in babies. This is an actual
I
study.
can imagine that.
Yeah,
It
it's a
makes
study.
sense, yeah.
And what happens is when a man
makes
sits
sense.
around a baby, his testosterone level naturally decreases because it makes us more tolerant of the crying, moaning. It's hard to be around all that crap when your testosterone level's high, right? So, especially as a man, if you try to be a second mother, to some degree, you're chemically castrating yourself. You're losing your superpowers anyway. If you have a high testosterone level, you should want to see your children. You should love your children. You should protect your children. I'm not saying you shouldn't love them. Pick them up, have fun with them so much. That's how he raises kids. He doesn't.
All right. Yeah. You should love them, but the whole pick them up 2 hours, I'm out, like that's a little excessive. Again, like you should be living with your kids unless you're really, really working hard somewhere else. Otherwise, it's just weird. Um, Let me see what Daniel said. He's right. That's true. He's right. But the problem is, guys hear that and they think he means them. And no, my guy, you are not a king. LOL. He means actual kings. Yeah, exactly. I was saying that like a minute ago because, it's just it is what it is. Yeah, a lot of times, a lot of people are thinking that he's talking to all men and he's talking about all men. He says it all the time. He's like, kings and this and that and the other, but people don't really listen. So they think that it applies to them and it doesn't. Like most guys are not going to be in big positions of power. Their power position is in their household, and you have to be there to have that power. It's just how that works.
New age garbage. It's not real.
But if you're with one out of a relationship.
Women know what they want.
Okay.
They don't. Women want things that they want, things, and then they need to do. I want a guy who's sweet, sensitive, and thinks about me, but they're out there. None of you are with them. Why? Because women don't want that. Women actually want that. Women want to be with a man they respect. Women are only going to enjoy the time with, end up feeling in love with a man they genuinely respect. And unfortunately, to be respected, some of the qualities are detrimental to the overall relationship's, let's say, happiness. I know loads of women who are with a dude they hate, but they respect him. Like, he makes me so mad, but he is the G. And they stay with him, as opposed to the woman who's like, well, he's so nice to me, but, and leaves. So women need to respect you as a man. How's a woman going to respect you as a man if no other girl wants you? How's a woman going to respect you as a man if you're putting her above all your boys? How's a woman going to respect you as a man if you're not here in the streets making? How's a woman going to respect you as a man if you respect yourself if other men don't respect you? Respect is linked to fear. How's a woman going to respect a man if people don't fear you? There's a problem with do that here, especially in the crypto world. The crypto girl, right? Will make.
Oh my goodness. I don't know why it keeps being choppy on my side. I hope it's not as bad for you guys. But yeah, he's right so far about like the whole respect thing. But it's like the same thing with your kids. You have to put that in them and they don't get the respect unless there's like some level of fear. Not that women have to have the level of fear for their man, but other men have to have some sort of level of fear for your man because they need to know that if they act up, that your man's going to like do something about it. So that's where that respect comes from. But like with kids too, kids like I remember when I was younger, my mom would scream and yell all the time. Like it was so annoying and embarrassing. Like if any friends would come over, I'd be like, if you hear my mom yelling, that's just what she does. It's just how she talks. She's not mad. She would scream and yell and say all this crap. And then she'd be like, wait till your father gets home. And we'd be like, yeah, fine. You're a psycho. But we didn't say that out loud at all. But then like we would stop when he got home. My dad never yelled. I never heard my dad yell. But there was this like fear of like, oh my gosh, what is he actually gonna do? Like, but there's the same thing with kids now. Like the mom can say and do all this stuff, threaten, say all kinds of crap. And like it doesn't really matter like if they're not afraid of the mom. And if you don't have that level of fear, then the respect doesn't come. That's just bottom line in any relationship. If it's like work, you're afraid if you say the wrong thing or do the wrong things, you're going to get fired. If it's like, with your parents, like you're afraid that they'll kick you out or you'll disappoint them, whatever it is, or you'll embarrass them, it's always fear. And then, obviously with like friends and strangers, you're afraid of like if they can beat you up or whatever. Maybe not your friends, but guys and their friends. Like if your friend, your male friend, can like beat you up and you know it, then you're gonna make sure you're respectful. That's just how it goes. There's like different levels to it. And then if you're just like a rando, you're going to be afraid of the police because they can put you in jail. Whether or not you think they can beat you up, that doesn't matter. But they can put you in jail, they can fine you, yada, yada, yada. So you always have to have some level of respect, some level of fear for you to have the respect. Let me see what Daniel's saying. Applies to men who become ballers. Keyword become ballers. Just because you're a man doesn't mean you automatically get baller status. You have to work your way there. That's true. Yeah, there's a lot of guys who just think that they're ballers. They think they're already there. They think that, they can just do whatever they want. And sometimes they can, but it's usually because girls let them. So that's whatever. Let me see what else he's saying here.
Because you're just a rich nerd now. You're still a dork. You can still raise your voice and nobody give a shit. I'll still run up on you and take everything you got. Like, you have to be a man worth respecting. And that's what people do. And if you're it's very hard to become a man worth respecting. Change. And even if you just make money on your
what is enough? So other than that,
that's a good point. You do have to be a man worth respecting. And even some kids will see that. So we're talking about, dads and do they need to be there? Obviously, Andrew Tate thinks that dads don't really need to be there. And I disagree. I do agree to a certain extent. Like if you're a king or if you're really, like if you're in the military or really rich and powerful and your job has you traveling, yeah, I get that. But for the regular guys out there, you regular dads, like you need to see your kids and teach them and blah blah blah. But yeah, he makes good points, but I think he's like a bit um like obnoxious sometimes about it. But yeah, let me see because I lost my train of thought.
And messing around. What enough? You talk about being tall, muscular. You can shoot guns. All this stuff you talk about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what he's saying. Yeah, you have to be a man worth respecting. So that means you got to be a provider. You have to be able to take care of the kids in whatever way you can, and your wife or the baby's mom, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, all that stuff depends because if you're not a hard worker and you're not like there's no reason to fear you and you don't take care of what you're supposed to be taking care of and you're not successful in like anything in life, then no. And kids can like smell that, they're like, oh my gosh, this guy's a chump. Like you don't want your kid thinking you're a chump and that you're not to be respected. So that was a good point that he made. Like you do have to you got to do that. You got to have that. You gotta have something, or you have to be worthy of respect for your kids to respect you, or your girl or your wife or whoever your partner is.
Some people want too.
Yeah.
So what would you do if you weren't too?
All right. So firstly, accept something. God has favors.
See?
He served us.
Okay.
And I'm one. As are you. Beautiful smile. have faith. Respected for him to even be admired by society. I agree, he had to be a warrior. That's what men did. We fought.
Right.
That's what men did. We fought. You're a man and you have no in your life, no more in your life. What do you do? It doesn't have to be the best example of every woman in the box.
Biologically, yes, but if you know, one, you want to and the family,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. So every woman wants a boxer cave there, but this is the testament of the modern world, right?
Right.
Every knows that wants fighters. Every single man watching this would love to be able to say he's a fighter, but 99% of the men watching this will not go fight because they are afraid. They're all cowards. They'll make up every excuse for the son. Oh, I was busy with my Bitcoin. Oh, You're all a bunch of pussies. They are pussies.
Oh,
They're pussies. Women do that. So if you want to have a woman who truly respects you, you need to put yourself through war in some form. Now, what most men avoid physical confrontation because they're cowards, and they start doing physical confrontation. This is why men are so obsessed with money, because it's a degree of conquest. We can no longer walk the earth or land, right? It's not like we days we around as the Romans and just chop somebody up and take their land. So now we conquer the land financially. This is why men will work so hard to be a CEO and give up his whole life.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, there's nobody conquering lands the same way they used to. It's like a whole war thing, and nobody's just walking around beating people up and taking their house, their land, whatever it is. So yeah, it's a lot different. Men are different, women are different, and if they were doing that stuff before, then yeah, they had a reason to leave. They don't anymore. I think he's gonna start talking about some other stuff now. I didn't watch this whole thing, but yeah, Andrew Tate is definitely a very polarizing individual, if you will. I like his points, I do, but I just don't always like the way he delivers them. He doesn't even have any kids, I don't think. No one has said he has. I know his brother has at least one, but yeah, he's got strong opinions on fatherhood and how you should father, and I think that it's a bit much. Like, even for really rich people and or men who are powerful, because he's got a level of power, but that's just because he's like talking to everybody. So I wonder if he felt the same way before, because his father wasn't like this rich, powerful man either. And then his kids, like, he left them pretty much and they were poor and struggling. So I don't really know why he thinks his father's parenting was so successful, because the mom was there doing most of it. So really, he should be giving more credit to his mother, since his father really wasn't there. I understand that he gave him like pretty tough lessons and he remembers them and he appreciates them, but like as far as him, like Andrew Tate actually um, succeeding and becoming a successful man financially, it seems like it was more his mom and like his desire to be like out of like poverty, and he lived in poverty with his mother and siblings, not his father. Then they moved to a whole new continent. So I don't really know. I don't know why he's like that about his dad. I understand, he's your hero, you admire him and all that fun stuff, but if I was his mom, I'd be a little mad. Like, she was there the whole time doing all this stuff, and he says he was like, the way he grew up was basically in the ghetto and stuff like that. Like, if your dad was so great, then why did he have you living like that? And I heard another interview where Andrew Tate was saying that like um that he doesn't want his kids, when he does have kids, he doesn't want them to be like growing up rich. He wants them to struggle, and well, I think he really meant like he wanted to challenge them, things like that. And I get that, I really do, but like still, the whole like thing about him and his dad is a little much. He needs to chill out with that. I don't think that that was the best situation. He did. He did teach them some good lessons, like I said. So that part's good. But yeah, guys, I think that kids need their dads for the most part. They don't need their dads the same way they need their moms. The fathers do need to guide, and they need to discipline and be the authoritarian in the home. But yeah, they don't need to be the nurturers, like babying the babies and stuff like that. They're the ones who, like, they come in after the baby's fed and changed and play with the baby, rough the baby up, toughen them up a little bit, that kind of stuff. But yeah, they don't need two moms, that's for sure, because that just throws off the balance. So yeah, kids definitely need their dads. They need their moms too. Fathers are important for sure for so many different things. You know, like when girls grow up without their dads, a lot of times they have daddy issues, which I find to be weird, but it is what it is. It's a thing. And boys have daddy issues too, which nobody really talks about, but it's a thing. Like if your dad was a bad dad, or absent, like a lot of times there's like some weakness there, or there's insecurities because they lack the confidence that a male could give them and help them. Because sometimes, like as a mom, like I know I can say whatever to my kids, and especially my younger son, he just doesn't like really care about certain things I say because he wants a male to tell him, because he values certain things, like certain opinions, like of males instead of me, because he feels like I'm just gonna like baby him about everything and I'm always gonna be his cheerleader. And he knows that males are not like that, so he'll like ask his father, or he'll ask like another male that we know. And I think it's good to remember that, like, let fathers be fathers. Sometimes I'll tell my husband like calm down or whatever, or don't say this or that, because sometimes he's like, I think he goes too far to the left. But yeah, we need balance, and kids definitely need their dads. We have a comment here from this big commenter. Daniel says, I get what he means about growing up not rich because it shapes you much differently. But still being a guy that grew up poor, I would have rather had money. It's way too many advantages. Yeah, I agree. Um, he, I think he did like reiterate it at some point and say that he's going to have money, and then his kids are going to have to do certain things before they get the amounts of money, which I think is a great idea. I would do that too, like even now. My boys always help me with stuff. They do things if I have like a party or whatever. They'll do a lot, and then I'll pay them for that. Or we do little things to help, like at church and just stuff like that. Like even if it's like big chores and whatever, they have to work. And then like my 14-year-old, he wanted to work when he was like 11. So I ended up getting like a little like delivery thing so that we could do that. I drove, and he was like bringing the deliveries to the door, like food deliveries, nothing crazy. And you got to start him early. I mean, I didn't really care for him to work, but he wanted to, and my oldest son did a little bit too. But he's worked with his dad before over the years, so that's a good thing. Like kids got to work. Kids have to do stuff. If it's dishes, if it's garbage, if it's cleaning up around the house, taking the dog out, whatever it is, kids have to work, and that's good. Can't just let them be rich for no reason. Andrew Tate did say that he didn't want to raise his kids rich. And I get that. Like being privileged is nice, or like having nice things is nice, but you still should work for it. And that creates a more well rounded child. Let's see. No more comments. I don't know how was the audio for you, Daniel, since you're the only one out there? it was really choppy sounding over here. I don't know what happened. I changed the Wi-Fi and I put the wire in the back of the computer, but I don't know. Don't know if it worked. So we'll see. Um, I don't know. I got like a really short comment there. I think you hit send too early. But yeah, I like Andrew Tate a lot. I just don't like his deliveries. Yeah, I don't know what happened with the video. I really don't. That was really weird. I might have to do this again another time, but it's plugged in. It should have been playing just fine, but for some reason it kept going over to Wi-Fi, and even though I turned it off, so I think that was the problem. But um, it is what it is. Yeah, yeah. Andrew Tate, he's a good guy. He's pretty controversial, but I think that because I've watched a lot of his videos, I try to find the ones that are like cleaner and less cursing because I don't like that. But he wasn't like that before. He was like a calmer, quieter person, and I think now he's like a bit of a character. I think he turns it on. We all do it to an extent, like in public, whatever, when we're here, there, whatever. But yeah, I think he's a bit of a character. And when he shaved his head, I think he just started going a little crazy. But I think I should probably do another video on him when, because he just got released, which was a big deal. But I'm sure he's gonna go on somebody's podcast or maybe his own since. Well, I don't think he's back on YouTube. He's on Twitter now. But yeah, I think I should do another video on him and see how it goes, because I think he says a lot of things, and I'm raising boys, so life is really different for me. Like the things I have to tell them, what I have to teach them, how to deal with women, and then certain things that they do or say they can't because of how it's going to be perceived, and just things like that. Like it's a whole different world for me raising boys, and I know I'm a girl, obviously, so I feel differently, or I'm going to think a little differently than they do, but I have to give them the perspective of the public, and some things they say or do is just going to be like different. And I think Andrew Tate is helpful in that, but he needs to soften it up a little bit. So I sometimes can tone it down a little bit when I'm talking to my boys about what Andrew Tate says, and I want boys and men to know that it's okay to express how you feel and your opinions, and you shouldn't just get like run over or dismissed because you're a guy. And I think, yeah, Andrew Tate's a good guy for that. He's an advocate, and I have to advocate for my sons too. And I think I should do another video on Andrew Tate, probably a little earlier when people are awake. But I have things to do during the day, and making my videos is not always one of them. But so yeah, it's a little late, and I've been on for almost 40 minutes. I think that's good enough. But I hope you guys catch the replay. But again, do kids really need their dads? Are fathers important? Yes, they are. Unless you're really rich and powerful. Then you might have to be away for a while, and that's acceptable. But don't forget, there's always a replacement or some sort of substitute that you need to have around while you're gone. Because kids need a male and a female to help balance them out, to help teach them different things. Because women can teach them, how to take care of themselves, how to eat and live and get dressed and hygiene and all those things. And then fathers can come and teach them how to build stuff, how to work hard, use their hands, how to protect, how to fight, how to play sports sometimes. I mean, moms can do that too sometimes, but you need both. And even if it's a girl, like I'm not just talking about boys, but you do need both, and you need the soft and the hard, because sometimes, girls gotta fight, boys gotta fight. And I'm not gonna be out here teaching everybody how to fight. Like, I only have boys, but if I had a girl too, I'd be like, yo, go talk to your dad, You need to know how to be a woman, and you need to know how to be a man. And I can teach a girl how to be a woman, but I don't have girls, I have boys. So I can teach them how to be gentlemen. I can teach them how to take care of themselves. I can teach them how to take care of women, but I can't teach them how to be men, because that's just not my place, because I'm not a man. So it's like, I don't even know. It's like a chef trying to teach someone how to bake. Sometimes they're okay with parts of it, but you got to be a baker. Cooking is different than baking. It really is. I do both. And baking is like chemistry. If you are off with the measurements, you're jacking the whole thing up. But if you're cooking and you just like, throw some salt and pepper in there, you don't have to actually measure it. You're not going to ruin the whole thing. But with baking, you can and will ruin the whole thing. So yeah, yeah, you gotta know. Yeah, how to be a man. Exactly, that's what I was saying. I think these are the issues here. Like, you got to remember, there's differences, and there's checks and balances. There's ebbs and flows, and you have to have both. And if you don't, kids get thrown off, and then they have all kinds of insecurities, and then it's harder to like fix a man. It's easier to teach a boy. And I'm gonna talk about boys because that's what I have. Obviously, there's situations and issues with girls too, but like, it is very hard to fix a damaged man. It's so much easier to teach a boy, and you need a dad to do that. And like I said, if it's not his biological dad, you can definitely have an uncle, a grandfather, a friend, even somebody from the church step in. Because when I was younger, my dad died, and I don't feel like I had like daddy issues. I really don't. Some other people might, I don't know. But I do know we had like people at church and stuff like that. I had uncles, and you know, it was a lot more helpful, even for my mom, like, fixing the car, things like that, checking stuff out, even taking her to get her car fixed with the mechanic so that she didn't get like taken advantage of. You need both, you do. And as you get older, like, you start to see that. And oh, hey, hi, Teddy One. But yeah, like, I know that there's like a big group of people who think that you need your mom only, but it's just not true. Like, look at all these kids who don't have dads. A bunch of them are in jail. Some of them are, I can't even get into some of the things I want to say right now, but yeah, there's all kinds of things. You have girls being promiscuous, or being taken advantage of by men, sometimes, violent situations like domestic violence. And then sometimes boys are being promiscuous. And it doesn't really feel good, because, like we were saying before, unless you're like a really big, rich, powerful man, the whole promiscuity thing is just not really what you're looking for. For some reason, like, when you get way up there being a king and, whatever, you seem to want to like spread your seed all over the place. But as far as like being with a bunch of people, it's hard. It's hard work, and it, it takes a lot of energy, if you're married. But anyway, back to the kids. It's just not it doesn't make any sense that a lot of people nowadays just want to be like, yeah, you don't need your dad. Oh, I can do it all by myself, the mom. And it doesn't really work. Like, my mom had to do that after my dad died, and one of my sisters was like pretty resentful about it. And my mom, like I said, she acted like a psycho. She really did. But there was five of us, two boys, three girls, and I have boys, and I've had to act like a psycho a few times. It's funny to say, but like, because I'm small. But since I'm so small, like my husband was always out working, whatever. And I had to make sure that they were also scared of me, not just him, because he was working all the time. And if he wasn't working, he was sleeping. He used to work like 18-hour days, blah, blah, blah. And like, yeah, I had to rough my boys up. I'm not talking about a spanking. I mean, like knock them down so that they knew. But that's the thing. Like, if my husband wasn't working so much, he could do that stuff. And then I had to like shift and stop being like mommy, who's the coddler and the baker and the hugger and all that. And I had to be like the beast, who was not very comfortable. It was uncomfortable, but I knew that's what they needed. You just this guy not crazy, but they had to know, like, look, I will do what I have to do to make sure that you respect me. And I said that before, like, with respect comes some level of fear. And I knew that at that point, the way they were acting, they weren't fearing me. And I don't want to be the one, like, I'm not like my mom screaming and yelling. Like, I don't have a loud voice. And so I had to use these guns right here. But yeah, I had to let them know, and but that's what boys need. Boys need to know that they can't just do whatever they want. They need to know how to control themselves. They need to know. Yeah, Teddy. Yeah, I'm from the Bronx, so that's all I have to say. But yeah, they need to know that they need that there are consequences. They need to know how to control themselves, and I can control myself as much as I want to, but they need to see a man controlling himself, and then and being respectful of men and women, being respectful of peers and all kinds of stuff. Because if they see their dad being like a psycho or whatever man their male role model is, but if they see their dad being a psycho and having no respect for other men just because he can beat them up or whatever it is, then they're going to be like that. Like there's just so many things that are affected by fathers and fathers being present. So with Andrew Tate acting like, you can't be a nurturer and coddling your baby, like, yeah, I get that. You can't do that too much. You do need to do the fatherly duties. And part of that is, teaching boys how to be men, and it's teaching girls how to expect to be treated like later on. And part of that is, even if a girl sees her father being like self-controlled and being a gentleman and also going out to work, then she's going to see like what her future husband or whatever is supposed to be doing. There's like all these role models, and you have to see them, you have to look at them, you need these examples. If you don't have them, then this is like a wild west, and kids are all over the place acting crazy, and they grow up to be reckless men, and then little wild women, and that's not what we need. We need balance, we need order back in the households. So kids need their dads, yes. They need fathers, even if it's not their biological. That's what they need, and we need to make sure we get that out there. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this up. And like I said before, I think Andrew Tate is he's a good one for the boys, and for girls too, but definitely for the boys. And that's what I have. So I think I'm going to make some more Andrew Tate videos. All right. Let me know what you guys want to talk about, or what kind of interviews of Andrew Tate's that you guys are interested in me reacting to and discussing. Let me see. Um, I have to watch what I do and say around my son so I don't pass on my flaws to him. Yeah, but you know what? You know what you can do though? He can see your flaws, and then these are like teachable moments where like you can be like, "Hey, son, Teddy two, because you're Teddy one." You could be like, "Hey, Teddy two, sorry, I just flipped out and threw that glass across the room." I'm just joking. I don't know. I don't think you're doing that, but Sorry, I just flipped out and I started yelling at you. It wasn't that big of a deal. I had a bad day, but I shouldn't have done that. Sorry, you want to talk later, blah, 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 that kind of thing. So, yeah, don't forget, there's teachable moments. And with that, I'm going to say good night, guys. He's a junior. I don't know. Danny's typing. But yes, I'm going to say good night, guys. Yeah, I'll see you next time.